Oh, welcome.
Hi.
Hi. As you can see, we're excited to have you here in Indiana.
I'm so excited to be here.
Hello, everyone.
Is this your guys' first time to Indiana?
I've driven through here a couple times.
Okay. Yeah. Nice drive.
Big RV. It was a very nice drive. Yeah.
Excellent.
It is my first time here, and really enjoying it. Really nice city and great people. So it's so nice to get to be here and meet so many of you.
Oh, well, we love having you here. We have some questions here we want to talk about. We'd love to hear some stories. But Hayden, we just have to mention, because this just went like viral, big news. You were just in New York City, and you were doing the Empire building, and you came in there. Tell us about that. That's one of the most coolest things I've ever seen. They had you there, and you got to flip the switch and turn it into the Empire building.
Yeah, it was awesome. We lit the whole building up with Star Wars themes, and they projected Star Wars onto the Empire State Building. It was awesome.
You finally got the high ground.
I finally got the high ground, right?
I was like, my sky guy.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was. I enjoyed it.
Shots fired. All right.
Well, I mean, I'm the New Yorker.
Oh, right.
So I was like the person who actually follows the Empire State Building account. So that's where
Do
I
you
first
really?
saw.
Oh,
I
no
do,
way.
actually. So yes, the Empire's.
I thought it was so
back.
cool, and I grew up going there as a kid, and it was like a big tourist destination.
Yeah.
Still is, I'm sure. I think it's the #1 tourist destination in the United States, actually.
Especially
Shout out to
now.
the Empire State Building.
Sky guy.
But yeah, it was cool.
I love that. All right, we're going to kind of get to know you guys a little bit, and then we'll jump into, of course, some Star Wars questions. But Rosario, I heard this. I heard that you are a big train aficionado. You love trains.
I love trains.
You do. You love trains.
I
And
do. I'm
go
actually planning on doing a cross-country train trip with a friend just to do it. Cause
Really?
I've never done it, and I always wanted to.
Where did the love from trains come from?
Who doesn't love trains? Like, I mean, what kind of question is that?
Right. Good point. Yeah.
No. Okay.
All right.
Respect. Put some respect on the train.
Right.
You're gonna go on one of those trains that
Highly
you like
necessary.
sleep on, and
Yeah.
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 That sounds so cool.
I kind of want to just do train travel around different parts of the world because, in New York you go to D.C., which is cool,
Yes.
but then you can go on the bullet train.
Yeah.
and That's the good stuff.
We've got a good one in Canada too, I hear.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
Oh, let me find out. Like, for reals.
For reals, yeah. No, George Lucas did it with his family one time, and he said it was amazing.
Oh,
Now-
I'm so excited.
You just brought up Canada, and I heard this story, and I hope it's true. I heard that you were a ball boy at the Canadian Open tennis match, and that one time you actually got a little nervous, and you jumped out in front of John McEnroe, and they had to stop the point. Is that true?
Somewhat. I was a ball boy when I was like 9, 10 years old. It was. I think that was my first paying job. Was a ball boy at the Canadian Open, and I was thrilled. You go, you try out for it, and then you get the job, and they give you a uniform, and I ball boyed a match for John McEnroe, and I was one of the kids up at the net. When they hit into the net, and you run across, you grab it, and so John McEnroe lost the point, and he hit it into the net, and I've got pretty quick reflexes, and so as soon as it went into the net, I was right after it, and he was frustrated that he lost the point, so he was going up to sort of take out his frustration on the ball, and I was going right by, and he had to sort of pull up just shy of my head, and
Thank God.
and I think that was my first time on the evening news too, because they were like, John McEnroe almost beheaded this ball boy, and that was me.
That's amazing. All right, so I think it's interesting because both of you have kind of a unique experience of when you've entered into the Star Wars universe. You guys have entered into characters that were already kind of established and beloved. Is that more intimidating, or is that more fun to take on a character that's been established and then you guys get on and create the mythos of that, continuing on with that character?
I mean, you did it first.
I did it first. I think it's just more exciting. Not more intimidating, just more exciting. There's more everything, more anticipation, more expectations, and that's just good fun.
Excellent.
it's also more history to research and fall in love with. And like I've said it over and over, just like rewatching Clone Wars, rewatching Rebels, it just feels like memories, like history, you know? And so having those moments then with Dave on set and being able to have him extrapolate about so much of it and then continue the story, even as we were filming, he'd be showing us scenes of some of the other Star Wars stories that they were creating and getting to see little baby Ahsoka, which was incredible.
Yeah.
I know, so cute. I got to see that while we were dressed up like in between like lunchtime. I'm crying. I'm like, okay, we gotta fix my makeup. This is great.
Do you guys have any strong memories, or like from when you got started filming, that something stuck out, like the first time you got to hold a lightsaber, or a certain type of dialogue that really struck out and meant something to you, being a Star Wars fans and being part of the Star Wars movies?
Definitely the first time I was given a lightsaber, that was a big deal for me. You know, and they make a sort of like a ceremonial thing out of it, and they bring it over in a box, and it's like a whole reveal for you. And I don't know if it's still like that, but that's how it was back in the prequels.
Shots fired. Okay.
Huh? No.
They don't do that anymore?
Gotta talk to Dave. No, I have to say I got nervous. I was gonna lose the job almost immediately because I was so excited on the first day of just trying out the new costume, because it felt like I wasn't doing cosplay because it was a new outfit. So this was the continuation of the story. So I have like pictures of me with Shauna, like just like doing jumping jacks, and I think they're like, "Is that a good sign? Is that going to be annoying?"
So the Star Wars universe is so vast, and there's so many characters, and you guys play some of the most beloved characters of all of them. If you could remove yourself from those characters, who are your other favorite characters in the Star Wars universe besides
Ventress?
Wow.
I mean, I cut my hair to have, room under my headtails. And I kept just thinking about how cool it is as I've been learning how to use two sabers.
Yeah.
That would be a really good cosplay. That would be a great Halloween costume. I'd shave my head. I'd do it. For Ventress? I would.
Amazing.
I mean, there are so many great characters in Star Wars. But honestly, when I went to go do the Obi-Wan show, I started watching all of the Clone Wars, and I fell in love with the Ahsoka character. I just thought it was such a great character and so nicely developed. And when I saw The Mandalorian and I saw you bring it into live action, I was so happy.
Thank you.
Let's see. How familiar were you with Ahsoka before you started auditioning? Were you pretty familiar with the role, or is that something that as you started auditioning, you were like, okay, I need to learn more about her?
Well, I knew that she was alive. Ahsoka lives. #Ahsoka lives. For the fans out there who know. And Boss Logic had actually designed me, did a fan cast of me. So it had been a few years before I even knew that she'd ever go live action that I had started getting into her and just really loving her. So when that popped up and he drew me as her, I was like, yeah, I do see the resemblance. That would be amazing. How did I miss that?
That's amazing. All right, and Hayden, this one was submitted. I think this is I hope this is true. I heard a rumor that on your brother's birthday that you kidnap him on his birthdays.
Kidnap. That's a strong word. We had a tradition that was, we don't do it so much anymore, but for a few years we would wake the birthday boy up a little bit early and then take them somewhere unexpected. And the first time it happened
Was
to me.
that a polite way of saying kidnapped? I was like,
I mean,
that was amazing.
But the first time, it was him and a friend of ours, and we were all living together, and we went on this trip, and they actually pulled into Legoland, and they were like, "We're going to Legoland." I was like, "Awesome!" And we weren't going to Legoland. We kept going. and we went on like a dirt bike excursion, and that sort of became a bit of a tradition for us. And but yeah, it lasted for a few years, and it was a fun tradition.
That's amazing. Yeah. So it's not kidnapping. You just took him against his will, and you didn't know what was happening.
Exactly.
So right, got it. Perfect. Excellent. All right. So, your characters? Is there any qualities of the characters that you have that you feel that you really identify with? Is there any characters that Is there any qualities that? I'm sorry. Let me say it again. Is there any qualities that your character has that you feel that you strongly identify with? As also, is there any qualities that your character has that you find difficult? You're like, oh, I don't understand that, so you had to research a little bit more.
That's all you.
I'm really stubborn. I would think that she's got that a little bit. No, she's really patient, and really, her arc has just been so incredible. She's just one of the most phenomenal stories I think that Star Wars has ever extrapolated on, and so I like how much she's transformed and changed and matured, and I think that was really fun to kind of even think about for myself and what my journey has been getting to here. This is my 30-year acting anniversary, and it's been a really remarkable experience and ride, and I could definitely feel how it was just really, I felt very grateful to be in her stillness and in her movement and in her power, and to put that into my body at this stage of my life, and like really consider just the training and just the day by day, even just the meditation of it. Like I remember we had to practice, I can talk about now because I couldn't say before, but I had to do these breathing practices so that I could do the underwater scene. And so I could hold my breath for like 4 minutes and stuff under the water, or something crazy like that. I think the first time I did it was like 2 minutes or a minute and a half, and they were like, right away. And I was like, yeah, I have to do my makeup in the morning at 4 o'clock, and we do it with a spray. It's alcohol and orange and different colors. And so in order for it to go quickly, I have 2 people, and I would hold my breath for as long as I could in between sprayings. So every morning is this like breathing meditation. And so I was just like little things like that it was just kind of fascinating that I kept finding myself kind of connecting with her with. And just, yeah, I just feel really, really grateful to embody her in any way and to be able to continue her story because she's so meaningful to me. And I keep feeling like I'm learning and gaining so much from her. So if I can get any of that wisdom kind of going forward, especially as I'm a grandma now. Thank you. Give Raiden some love. That makes me feel really good. I think this is a good time in my life to be meditating in that sense, and to be getting so grounded because she's so grounded.
Excellent.
That was beautiful. I can't. I mean, you always need to figure out ways to identify with your character's qualities. I think for me, Anakin, is a bit impulsive and kind of acts before he thinks, and I've been accused of that myself. But I don't know. I always personally just really enjoyed playing sort of the darker side of the character, and I was always wanting to, show glimpses of that darkness. And through episode 2, we see a little bit of it. Episode 3, obviously, a bit more. Just a bit.
Smidge.
But that was my favorite stuff to do.
Excellent. That's amazing. Now, Rosario, because I know you're a big comic book fan. In fact, you even started your own comic book. Is that correct? What was your comic book that you started?
The OCT, the Occult Crimes Task Force.
Yes.
You have your own comic book?
I do.
Why don't I know this?
I just found out you made clothing. This is his jacket he designed. Wow. We're learning. Thank you, Cons, for bringing us together to learn more things about each other.
You gotta check out your comic. Amazing.
You designed that jacket?
He did.
I did, yeah.
I love it. I love the buttons on
Thank you.
the sleeves and everything. It looks amazing.
I did it myself.
That's amazing. back to the comic books.
You will not take over this
Did you?
interview.
Well, did you like? How did you become? How did you get to be such a fan of comic books? And how did that start with?
Oh, well, my Uncle Gus is a comic book artist. And when I kid you not, we would be back to back, and he would flip the pages for me so I could read all of his comics, because I couldn't breathe on them and I wasn't allowed to touch them. So they were basically like sacred text to me. And this was carried on from my grandmother, actually, who her mother didn't appreciate comics and threw away her #1 Superman.
No.
Thank you. So when my uncle had a proclivity for it, and my mom would like buy him pencils and things when he, did well at school, and I brought him to visit us on Sin City when I was filming, because he was the reason why I knew who Frank Miller was and knew how important it was, because my team was like, what is this black and white thing they want? I'm like, no, this is amazing. I have to audition for it. Were you kidding? Don't cost me this. And so then they would sit and talk about like paper and blue pencils. It was very cute. And to this day, I talk to him about the different projects, and I'm always, I kind of cross all the universes. I try to be in all of them. I haven't been in Star Trek yet, but I'm in the View Askew universe. I dabble in a little DC, a little Marvel, and I love it. It's my favorite. It's my favorite.
Do you have a favorite comic that you love? All of them?
No, I mean, I used to say Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, which was a really crazy one. No, but I love graphic novels particularly, so I'm like, I want to reread Persepolis again, especially with everything that's been going on. I love Mouse, and obviously I think probably The Watchmen is probably my #1.
Amazing.
I think about The Watchmen a lot. Like, is it really going to take us having like an alien invasion or something in order for us to all come together? You know what I mean? Like, what is that actually going to take? And especially since now we're hearing aliens might actually be real. And people are just like, yeah, we'll take you to our leaders. And I'm like, wait, no! Like, change has got to happen. Come on, guys.
That's amazing. And then, hey, is this just for your personal, or you designed like a clothing line? I didn't know.
I did a clothing line in Canada, like 9 or 10 years ago.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Can we find it?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay. Excellent. All right. Good to know.
We all do clothing lines. I have a clothing line, Studio 189, and Ashley has obviously her universe.
Yes.
It's a thing we do, apparently.
Yes, absolutely. All right. And Hayden, how was it going back and working again with Ian McGregor again, refilming some of those scenes with him?
It was just the coolest thing. I love Ewan. He's someone who I became very close with when we were doing the prequels. And when I found out that they were going to be doing the Obi-Wan show, I was so thrilled for him and for everyone that we were going to get more Obi-Wan. And then I got the call that I was going to get to be a part of it, and it was a blast getting to do the few scenes with him that I did. And thank you.
That's absolutely wonderful. Is there any character arcs? If you guys could design your own character arc for your characters, what would you like to do? What would you like to explore with your characters?
So much. I leave that to the professionals like Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, and but there's certainly more there to explore, and I would love to get to do more with the character.
Excellent.
Well, I'm excited about being a master. So
I think of all the characters, I think you guys are the two most beloved characters, though. The people they love you, and you represent so much. And we love that.
I feel like Mace Windu would have something to say about that. I could just see like Sam Jackson just like leaning in. I'm the only one with a purple lightsaber. What are you talking about?
What have been some of you guys have had some amazing experiences, I'm assuming, maybe with some fans. What have been some of your most memorable experience you've had with some fans you've had?
I'll have to say one recently that really made me cry. I have a documentary about regenerative farming that is being screened around the country right now. Rick Clark actually is one of the farmers that we work with who has a farm about an hour and a half out of here. I'm going to go see him tomorrow here in Indiana. And it's the director of it actually has a son he named Jedi. And him and his wife, Rebecca, directed the film. And he was telling me their daughter actually never likes watching any films with them or shows because there's never enough females in them. And so he's like, oftentimes we end up playing cards or games or something because we'll put on a show and she'll be like, where's all the girls? This is stupid. Why aren't there any girls in this? And so they'll end up having to turn stuff off. And he said one day she came home from school and he was like on the 3rd or 4th episode of Ahsoka. And he said she walked into the room and she started just staring at the screen and was just standing there, just staring at it. And he goes, do you want to sit down? She was like, yeah. And she just kind of like backed up and like sat down and then watched the end of it. And then Rebecca came home and said, you got to go to bed. And she's like, no, Mom, I have to watch the beginning. I'll go brush my teeth and put on my pajamas, but I have to watch the beginning. So then he's stoked because he never gets to watch anything. And obviously he loves Star Wars. And so they ended up that night starting from the beginning and watching the first like 3 episodes that she had missed. And she was just so happy and so excited to watch this show that just had all of these women in it and just loved it so much. And he was just so blown away. And he was telling me with tears, like, she does not like to watch anything because she doesn't feel represented. And he's like, and I'm just telling you this story, and this is just one little girl in one household that is being impacted by this. And it's just so cool.
It's awesome.
I love that. Excellent. Hayden, do you have any strong memories or experiences with some fans that you've enjoyed?
I mean, so many. You know, that's why we come here is to get to meet all of you, and even though our interactions are quick, they mean a lot to me and you know, to both of us. And you know, you guys, I really believe that you have enabled me to come back to Star Wars, and you. And made me want to come back too. So they all mean a lot to me, and I've got a nice collection of bracelets here. We got some too.
Okay, we got more. But hey, also I forgot I had to give
Check
you this
that
to
out.
the chosen one. It's the Grissom Air Reserve Base Fire Department.
No way.
He asked me to give that to you.
That is awesome.
I have mine. Is he? Oh, hey. So I have mine.
That's
I told
from
you I would
you?
give it to him.
Good man.
Last time you
Appreciate
gave
it.
me a bracelet that was meant for me, so I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Are all those bracelets or those gifts that people have given you, or?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is really dope. I was seeing if I was gonna get more than you, but that didn't happen. That's fine.
Yeah. I've got a nice like jar of them at home, and so the collection keeps on building. It's a very cool thing.
It's dope.
That's me. Well, I'm going to speak for, I think, everybody here. Hayden, we're so glad that you have come back to the universe. We love it. We love it.
Thank you.
We absolutely love it.
Yeah. And also, it's because of y'all that we get a second season. So I really appreciate you. So dope.
So I have to ask a little behind the scenes thing. When you guys were originally cast, how long was it before you could tell anybody? And was it hard to keep that a secret when it first happened?
Yo. You know what I kept thinking about in Bryce Dallas Howard's episode in The Mandalorian? She had all of those children who were playing with Grogu before he had a name. The child. And none of those kids said anything. So I was like, if they can be Fort Knox, I can be Fort Knox. But it took everything in me, I have to say. It did. I had friends and family who were like, how did you not say something? And I was like, couldn't. Contracts.
How long did you have to keep it a secret? How long did you keep that secret? For a long time?
It was a long time. And also, this has been one of the weirdest jobs because they also didn't want us to do like any press. So like it came out and it was like, don't say anything. So that you didn't even know which episode it was. And it's been the most interesting thing because then also the pandemic hit and we had lockdown And then the strike happened when the show came out, so I couldn't do press then. So it's just consistently been very strange about not being able to be as vocal and excited as I'd like to be. So I keep even having moments like that, like I can say stuff to you now. It's so exciting.
Well, just for you, we are thrilled with your casting. You are perfect for the role, guys. Isn't she amazing? It's perfect.
Thank you.
How about you, Hayden? Was it difficult to keep that a secret when you first were cast?
Yeah, I didn't fare so well with that. But thankfully, this was before social media and all that stuff. So I got the news that I got the part of Anakin Skywalker, and they said you can't tell anybody. And I had a roommate at the time. As soon as I got off the phone, I told my roommate, and then I called up my mom. I told my mom. I think I told a few people. But I knew it was just going to be a couple of days until it was announced, and I was just had my fingers crossed that it didn't get out, and I didn't spoil it. But then, when I got to be a part of your show, I wasn't allowed to talk about that, and that was a tough one. But I think I kept it a secret for the most part. People kind of knew, but they didn't know because of me.
I think Ewan was saying stuff that he wasn't supposed to
Was
say.
he?
Yeah, because
It
he dropped
happens.
Mary on it, and it was like, okay.
So when you told your roommate, though, did he believe you at the beginning, or was he like, come on?
Yeah, no, he knew I was up for the role, and I walked out of my bedroom after I got off the phone, and I just had a big smile on my face, and he knew that I was gonna find out soon, and he was like, "Is that smile what does that mean what I think it means?" And to like confirm it for him, I lit up an imaginary lightsaber, and I was like. And he was also a DJ, and he had a turntable in the apartment, and he had the soundtrack from episode 1. So he put the Duel of the Fates on, and we had a whole lightsaber fight jumping around the apartment on the couch, and it was an amazing memory for me.
That's amazing. Do you still do that? Like if you're wrapping a present, you get an empty tube or whatever, you still do you use that as a lightsaber? Do you make the sounds?
It's impossible not to.
It is absolutely impossible not to. All right, so we have to ask, what do you guys feel? How do you feel? Are you big fans of Ewoks, though? Do you like Ewoks? It's very divisive for a lot of people.
Is it? I've always loved Ewoks. I mean,
I
when I was
love
a kid,
Ewoks.
Ewoks were great.
Ooh, someone's trying to start a fight. What's the violence?
Hey, there's a little bit of internet chatter about Ewoks.
You know what I saw internet chatter about, which I thought was awesome? That if Arnold Schwarzenegger had been cast as Chewbacca, it would go,
That's
Did
awesome.
you hear it? That'd be so funny. It'd be so great. I love Chewie.
That's amazing. But I don't know. I don't know if you know
Y'all
this.
know if you come on my like to get signings from me, how nerdy I am. So some of y'all know.
I don't know if you guys know. Do you guys know how Han Solo got around the moon of Endor, though? He walked it. It's terrible. All right. Hayden, one more. This is a kind of an interesting, it's a deep cut, but when I was looking at this, and this question was kind of fed to me, you were one of the youngest competitors ever on what was called the Eco Challenge Fiji Islands. What is that? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It was an adventure race, one of the most difficult adventure races in the world, apparently, that I had no business being a part of. But my older sister was a big fan of it. She was like a real athlete growing up, and she wanted to do it. And I had just gotten Star Wars like not long before, and she thought that, because it was televised too, and she thought, well, if you would do it, with me, maybe we could, get in the race and on the show. And so she submitted us, and we got on. And I was like, thinking, and it was in Fiji, and so I thought, I'll bring my camera, I'll take lots of pictures. We're not going to really go that fast, but it was by far like the most challenging thing I've ever done in my life. the concept of an adventure race is you have to get from point A to point B, and they don't tell you how to get there. They just sort of give you a map and a compass, and you're like trekking through the jungle, and you have to build your own rafts to traverse rivers and all stuff that I didn't know how to do. And I think we lasted maybe 4 or 5 days before we tapped out. Or we got disqualified because they have sort of cutoff points, and if you're not able to make the next checkpoint before a certain time, they eliminate you. And so I was happy to get eliminated, and I've never done anything like it again.
All right. What is it like when you think of your characters? And I know there's some things that you can't discuss, so just obviously. Is there anything, though, that you have had happen or you have hoped to happen with your characters that would mean a lot to you? That's something that I really want this to happen to my character, or something that did happen that meant a lot to you guys?
For me, the work that I got to do with you and Ahsoka, that was such a thrilling experience, and getting to portray that version of the character was incredibly meaningful to me. And I remember reading the script for that for the first time, and I was just like a giddy little boy, just like the biggest smile on my face, reading the script and messaging Dave Filoni, just sort of thanking him profusely. And then the experience of getting to do it with you was just phenomenal. So that was a real privilege for me.
It's amazing. Rosario?
I mean, that actually gets me a little emotional thinking about it just going forward, because I know there was some stuff that we were going to be doing, and we've since lost Ray and Shauna. So thinking of us going back and doing the show without them is really tough. And I know that's also been really trying for Dave, because there was some really very specific, very cool things that we wanted to explore. And I love that dynamic between Ahsoka and Baylan particularly. So I'm with the Mortis Gods, you see kind of some stuff that's being suggested of like where to go, and I love the idea of kind of extrapolating on the relationship with Sabine, and what that's going to be so far away. We've gotten Ezra back, but we're stuck away, and Thrawn's on the loose. Which, by the way, Thrawn? Can we just? Obviously Natasha, but I keep just going to Thrawn, because like when he did the Ahsoka Tano, and I was like, I never get to meet him. I was very upset. So, I mean, we know that there's whale rides to be taken. So hopefully, that would be fun to be able to tussle with Thrawn.
Had you guys worked before Ahsoka together? Did you guys know each other, or was that the first?
Oh yeah, we go way back. We did a film together years ago called Shattered Glass. And
which you were incredible in.
Thank you, you too. But we actually first met as teenagers in theater school in New York. Yeah.
What was your first impression of him?
I was 16.
Yeah, what was your
We're
first impression of
teenagers.
him?
Oh, he was super nice. I mean, I didn't know that he was the kind of Canadian who kidnaps people, but like, at the time, I thought he was super, super nice.
Yeah.
And you had already done the film Kids, and you were like the person in our class that everyone was sort of looking up to, because you had that work experience, and myself included. And I just remember being sort of struck by how sweet you were, and I remember one time where all the kids were going out to lunch, and you invited me to come along, and it meant a lot to me.
That's amazing. I love to hear that. That's absolutely amazing. That's wonderful. So when you guys got reunited on Ahsoka, was you able to fall right back into the groove with each other, or what was the reunion like? Did you see each other again on Ahsoka?
Reunited and it feels so good.
For sure, our friendship, I think, just made that really work in a sort of a unique and special way. the dynamic between Anakin and Ahsoka is well established in the animated shows, and there was, I felt not pressure, but just a real responsibility to get that right. And then when we sort of stepped on set, it just sort of started to come really naturally because we have that history and we have that sort of just natural rapport, and so it was a real beautiful thing.
It felt really uncanny because you have these like memories of the characters being young with each other and kind of where they were at emotionally and mature wise, and so just it felt nice to feel like that wasn't just something we were having to generate on the day. Like I remember when we did Shattered Glass, which is based on a true story and is really incredible, and you were really, really seriously great in that. Like I really loved that movie. And I wasn't supposed to be in it because the character I played was actually written as male, and I just really was like all over the director, like, I really love this script and I really want to do this. Please just let me play in it. And then even like there's photos that they now put of us of, Ahsoka and Anakin later and in the animation. And then when we had been at the Independent Spirit Awards.
That's right. I've seen those pictures.
Because we had like, they just paired us to do like to give an award out, and it just is kind of like it was wild actually to look at us how young we were. A lot of life has happened in between then, and it felt good to feel like that genuine, authentic history and be able to bring that to everyone. Like that felt really, really cool, and like just a blessing. Like Dave kept tripping about it as well. Like it was just kind of weird. Also, it's kind of weird. It's kind of amazing and weird and special.
And here we are.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys. All right. We're gonna do a group photo.
Yeah, there was a younger class and Scarlett Johansson was in. Do you remember that? She was 10 years old.
No way.
Yeah.
I didn't even. I don't.
I'll never forget it because she still had that scratchy voice. She was literally in the younger class before us, and I remember she came up one day. She had overalls on, and everyone kept talking about because she was just so Scarlett. Like
So
then
it was a different class than the one that we were in.
No, it wasn't our class.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like a younger class, and she came up once, and I just remember being like, "What a freaking amazing semester at Strasbourg."
It's
It
cool.
was the only time my grandmother got me those classes because I had done kids, and she was like, "Well, if you want to do this seriously, you should actually take acting classes," and it was the only one she could afford to pay for. So I've always just felt so grateful that particular summer, that particular class I got to be in. I learned quite a lot.
Well, we're grateful for your grandma to do that led you to the acting. All right, guys, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do two things. We're going to do a group photo. We're going to have them come up here, stand on the edge. This is your chance to pull out your cell phones and turn on the flashlights and your lightsabers. But before we do that photo, can you guys just give a huge cheer and an applause for them to let them know how much we appreciate them?